Audio check. Should be okay. Yep. All right. I think everything is up and running well. So, if there's any issues, please do let me know. Good morning, afternoon, evening to wherever you may be in the world. Welcome to Aero League Racing Season 18 GR3 Championship Tier 4 Blue Round 2 around the Nürburgring Endurance layout. Wow, it's been a while, but it's every time I still have to go through this process of wondering if I'm saying it in the correct order and so on and so forth. But nonetheless, this is ALR GR3 Tier 4 Blue Season 18 Round 2. Just reiterating that. Obviously, you can see this is the Nürburgring and this is the endurance layout. This would be, I think, the longest race in terms of duration that we may have over the course of the season. So it's a 2-lap sprint race followed by, I believe it's a 7-lap feature. We will get to that in a bit, but let's go through the order before we start the sprint race. We have Zelda on pole in the GTR, followed by NTO in the Purple Beast. Purple Beast, that's what I called it last time. That's what people wanted me to call it last time. NTO is followed by his teammate T. Morrison. The two Purple Beasts are second and third. Captain Adam is fourth in the Porsche. Tetrapolis in the Jag is fifth. Schumacher is sixth in the other Mercedes. Forgive me. F. Whaley, is that the way to say it? Is P7. Max Power is P8. That's a very strong name to have. Great way to go about it, Max. Perfect name for somebody who's going racing, I feel. Abhi is P9 in the BMW, and HK, I believe it's Harshal, is 10th in the other Nissan. 11th is Juho Finn, who is also uploaded the replay, so thank you, Juho Finn, for doing so. Revolut is 12th in the McLaren. Moncon is 13th in the other Mercedes, and what exactly I'm supposed to call it, I should get used to it in a bit. JP in the Genesis is 14th, and rounding off the grid is Circus in the Audi, who is 15th. So without any further ado, let's go. 1 light, 2 light, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights ahead of the drivers, and when the lights go out, 15 drivers go racing around the Nürburgring. It seems to be a better start for NTO than it is for Zelda. Zelda does not seem to have got the perfect launch off the line there, although Zelda still holds the lead into turn 1 for the time being. Let's have a look as we go into this very tight, oh my word, tight corner, as I saw NTO getting hit from the behind there. I believe it was one of the Porsche. Or was it Tetrapolis? Let's have a look. So Zelda and NT are going very close into turn 1, almost side by side, and what happens here, it is the other Mercedes it's the Mercedes of Schumacher and Captain Adam who make contact, and as a result make a little bit of contact with the NTO. So it's an unfortunate way for their races to begin, but we do carry on. It seems like the two Purple Beasts have got a pretty good start there. Tetrapolis is in the mix as well, challenging the Morrison for P3 for the back. Let's see, Captain Adam seems to have got a reasonable start. Juho Finn has made up quite a few bases. I believe Juho Finn was 11th. That's a pretty good way for the race to go. Max Power runs in the back of the McLaren there. The Ford and McLaren not really seem to be magnetically attracted for that particular corner. I saw somebody go off track there. Who is that? That is somebody who's gone the wrong way. That is HK. So after what seemed to be a reasonable quali effort, HK has gone off track onto the grass, done a bit of lawn mowing, and has made contact with Schumacher, I believe it was, and unfortunately has gone spinning in the background there. Very unfortunate for HK there, but we do carry on. Let's have a look up front. What is the situation between NTO and, actually it's between NTO and his teammate Morrison. So the two Purple Beasts going towards the chicane at the end of the Grand Prix layout. Let's have a look which of them is going to be best suited as we start our turn towards the Nordschleife section of the racetrack. It seems to be NTO who has the measure of his teammate for now. Or does he? Actually, it seems to be Morrison who's got the upper hand here. Wow, the camera angles are all over the place. I think I'm going to stick to this. Zelda, who seemed to be running away. I was just going to mention that Zelda seems to have broken away from the pack. Zelda's gone onto the grass there slightly and lost maybe a little bit of composure, but still seems to have maintained a reasonable gap to P2. Let's have a look at the rest of the field. Are we going to see any battles through this tricky section? This opening section is it's very easy to make mistakes there, as you can see. F. Welly has made a mistake and has hit the wall, got a bit of damage, and there you go. It is very easy to get caught out here, and we have a yellow flag. What's happened? Oh, it's Tetrapolis. Tetrapolis running P4, chasing after NTO, got a bit too eager and put the throttle down at the wrong part of the track, and is now, well, that's I think it's pretty good that nobody else made contact with the recovering Jaguar there, but it's the field seems to be rather, there seems to be many mini battles going on up and down the field. Max Power takes to the grass there. Max Power's taken to the grass quite significantly. He joins just ahead of Revolut, ahead of Schumacher, and no, never mind, it's behind Schumacher now. Max Power's also made a pretty colossal mistake there and has fallen down to P10. Abhi's got a bad start as well, fallen from P9 I think it was to P12, but it is absolutely going ridiculous in the midfield here. Hello NTO, absolutely you can do so. I think the race is long enough, you should be back in time for the feature I believe. Schumacher and JP battling it out as we go into the, well, I don't really know the corner numbers here. It's not a track I'm very familiar with, Nordschleifer, in terms of corner numbers and names. Revolut and JP made contact, and that is Revolut into the wall. That is circa onto the gravel there, as there is so much happening here. Well, it is. So we see Revolut spinning here, and what happened here between Schumacher, I think. So did Schumacher make contact with somebody? It's Revolut in the background. You're going to see Revolut is going to spin. So let's have a look what happens to Schumacher here, because I don't see Schumacher. That is JP and Revolut having a bit of a moment there. Schumacher, all right, that's a simple misjudgment of the braking point there, and goes off circuit and is reset to track. Yeah, there you go. So good reaction from Welly there to try to avoid the possible contact that may have been there. Welly and Max Power now battling it out up front. These three seem to have run away from the rest of the pack. Morrison, NTO and Zelda. Adam and Geoffin are pretty close to one another right now. This is the battle I think that we can focus on for now. Welly and Max Power, F. Welly. Let's have a look through this long right-hander. Seems like Welly has taken a little bit more grass there compared to the Ford driver. As we go through this section of corners, we saw Max Power make a mistake earlier on. So it's very easy to make mistakes around this rather problematic layout, as it can be very difficult to maintain focus throughout the, I believe it's 8.5 minutes or so, a lap around here. So that's they seem to get very close, Max and Welly, but no contact made there. The weather seems to be, or is it just my screen? Because it seemed like for a moment there we could see some potential changeable weather there, maybe during the course of the next lap or so. Abhi chasing down Welly. Max Power is once again taken to the grass there and has lost the position to the Porsche and to the BMW and possibly to Schumacher as well. There you go, Schumacher has also got past Max. Max is making a few mistakes, maybe he's not very in line with the Ford's handling around this, the green hell as we know it. Abhi and Welly very close. Let's see if Abhi can mount an attack on the Porsche driver. As we go through this mostly flat out section, for what I remember correctly. Abhi has been hit by Schumacher. Abhi hits the wall as a result and falls down to P11. Circa may also get past. Circa will get past. What about Tetrapolis? Tetrapolis will also get past, but they make contact as well, and Tetrapolis is into the wall. Luckily no damage for the Jag driver, but I don't believe Tetro will be rather happy about that. And let's have a look at this little battle here. Let's have a look up front. What's going on between NTO, Morrison and Zelda. I think they seem to be all fine and dandy for now. It's the midfield where everything's popping off, so to speak. Schumacher, Whaley and Max Power very close. Let's see if Max can get past Whaley and Whaley. How do I say it? What's the correct way to say that name? I'm not very certain about it. But nonetheless, not a whole lot happening here. Tetro and Circa are battling it out. Let's see if Tetropolis can make the move on Circa. If Abhi can cause any of these two some hindrance, well, they've done that to themselves. Both of them facing the wrong part of the circuit there, and there is colossal damage for the pair of them. So what's happened here between Tetropolis and Circa? So Circa goes onto the grass and they make unfortunate untimely contact there. Revolut will gain 2 positions. Well, I think it's going to be 1. Circa is quite a ways up the field here, but that is so unfortunate. Tetropolis having to recover there and having lost the position to Abhi and Revolut, possibly to HK as well. HK also has some damage. So, oh, HK is on the hards. I've made that mistake before, having started the sprint race on the hards. That is, it derails your entire race from the get-go. Circa has damage as well. Well, let's see. The midfield is where it's all popping off. Schumacher is onto the grass there, and F. Whaley, I'm gonna try to alternate between the pronunciations there, gets past, has a bit of a drift there as we go into this this sweeping sections which will lead to the long back straight. Schumacher's just lost the position there. I don't think Schumacher will be rather pleased about that. What about Max is a long way back, so I think Max just made a few mistakes through these corners here. Now as we go on to the back straight, this is where the slipstream effect will be incredible to harness, and Moncon seems to have got the best of it. Moncon seems to be getting past Juho Finn, and the McLaren driver falls to P6 temporarily, possibly because he might look to regain the position that he just lost to the Mercedes driver as we reach the final few corners of the circuit here. Let's see if Juho Finn can make the move. I think Moncon has him covered off for now. And as we go through the final corners of the Nordschleife, yep, Moncon seems to have got the measure of Juho Finn for now. And up front, let's have a look. So Morrison seems to have fallen back a little bit from NTO and Zelda. NTO is putting on Zelda under a reasonable amount of pressure here. Despite them having pulled away from the field quite a bit, NTO is still maintaining a constant amount of pressure on the Nissan driver. And further back, this is where the entertainment lies. Whaley and Schumacher. Let's have a look into turn 1. Are we going to see any moves being made? Whaley goes a bit deep into the corner, goes off circuit. That's going to open up the door for Schumacher to make a move possibly. Schumacher tries the switchback, tries an alternative line, but no, I think Whaley has covered off for now. Or does he? Schumacher might choose to go for the switchback here before we start the run towards the chicane, final chicane of the Grand Prix layout. Schumacher goes for the switchback. Schumacher gets it done, although will Whaley be able to come back? Schumacher goes a little bit deep. Whaley tries the switchback. Now this is fantastic to watch. Whaley regains the position. All this is gonna allow Max to get closer and possibly challenge these guys for a potential P8 by the looks of it as of now. Up front, are we going to see any moves being made? That's Juho Finn onto the grass. So let's see if there was some contact or if Juho just missed his braking point. I think Juho just made a bit of a mistake there and messed up the braking point at a pretty critical part of the track, and goes off track again and hits the tire barrier, what do I call it? Tire block, not a tire barrier. So Juho Finn's start to lap 2 has not been the best, you could say, and I think just trying to regain some composure before setting off this charge of JP. Up front, Morrison I think is just gonna settle into the rhythm and try to hold on to P3 because NTO and Zelda just seem to be too far ahead right now. Let's have a look further back. This is the battle. This is the battle for the ages right now. Whaley and Schumacher, and they will now set after Juho Finn. So obviously we saw Juho Finn make have a bit of a crash there a few moments ago. Whaley and Schumacher will now set after the McLaren, and I will need to borrow a moment. Apologies. Okay, I think I should be audible still. I'm sorry, just got a... Let me just see if I'm audible. Am I? Yep. Alright. Okay, so my apologies for the delay there. Let's get underway once again. Picking up where we left off, following the battle between Juho Finn in the McLaren, Whaley in the Porsche, and Schumacher in the Mercedes. Let's go. So we resume the action rather with following Schumacher in the third-person POV, chasing after the Porsche. Let's see, this section is where we saw quite a few mistakes. On lap 1, are we going to see something similar on this lap? This is the final lap of the sprint, mind you, and Schumacher seems to be very eager to get past the Porsche in front of him. But no, there's been a bit of a mistake there for the Mercedes driver. Whaley seems to have got a better exit compared to Juho Finn as we go downhill, and then we will go uphill once again. That is the undulating nature of this circuit. You have a lot of elevation changes all across the board, and absolutely T-bop. You can rewind. You put the wrong tires on, you are in the wrong tires in the feature. Alright, I was just trying to figure out what you were saying there. No worries, I will keep a lookout for that as we will continue to follow this. It seems like this is the only battle on track at the moment, unless I'm just gonna have a look up front if there's anything interesting going on. Everybody seems to be under control. No, as I say that, we see Captain Adam have a bit of a moment there and going onto the grass there. So what's happened? Let's have a look. Maybe just a little too keen on the throttle here, and there you go, drifting. Luckily, I believe for Captain Adam doesn't have any damage, so should be all good to carry on as he is. Moncon is still a long ways back, so no harm done. Well, not much harm done, I think I should say, for Captain Adam there. And this, once again, this is the battle I just love to watch. I think this may carry over into the feature as well. Whaley, Schumacher battling it out, and here Juho Finn is in a coming under a bit of pressure here. I think, oh, I heard Schumacher just clobber the wall there, and Schumacher has damage. Juho Finn went slightly off circuit and has lost a bit of time there, maybe a bit of composure as well as a result. Whaley is trying to get past but doesn't seem to have a way past the orange McLaren, and Juho Finn brakes at a time when Whaley was not expecting it, and he runs into the back of the McLaren, but I don't think either of them rather have damage. It's It's a little dark here. I think that's just the time of day progression system that's at play here. Schumacher is now back in the mix after that little moment for the two ahead of him. As we go through this fast section here, Joe Finn will be coming under immense pressure. He has two cars behind him which are just so eager to get past and move up into a potential P7. Let's see, mistakes are never too far away at this circuit, as we have seen time and time again. As we go through the towards the, is this the carousel turn? I'm not entirely sure. This is not the carousel turn. The one after this is, yeah. So Joe Finn, these three seem to be maintaining position for now. And yeah, even though Whaley is close, I don't think Whaley is close enough to make a move right now. As I see that, Schumacher runs into the back. Oh, what's happened there? Throughout the corner, it seemed like Whaley just would not be able to get past Joe Finn. Joe Finn took a very odd line through there, and Whaley was run into the back. Whaley was hit by Schumacher, and that gave him the push he needed to get past Joe Finn. Well, you never know when something's going to benefit you. Joe Finn now falls to P8, Whaley's up to P7. Schumacher stays in P9, but Joe Finn's clobbered the wall there slightly and has been slightly tagged by Schumacher, though both of them are still facing the right way. No damage for Joe Finn. Schumacher has slightly gone off course. The front end of the Mercedes just doesn't seem to be giving him a lot of grip right now. Joe Finn once again off circuit. Joe Finn hits the wall, and that seems to be curtains for the McLaren driver. Max Power is a long ways back, but will still get past Joe Finn. So will Abhi. What about Revolut? Revolut would also, I believe, be able to follow suit. Joe Finn will just about be getting back on track now. Nope, Joe Finn is ahead of Revolut, but okay, the two McLarens are Linus Stern, but they are outside the top 10. That's not the result they would have wanted, especially Joe Finn. The way Joe Finn made up positions on the first lap, you would have expected him to maintain that throughout the race. Up front, okay, what's something up to Morrison there? I think there's a bit of a moment there. These two have just run away with the race. I expect the same in the future as well, Zelda and NTO. So onto the back straight we go. Zelda, it's comfortably Zelda's win here. NTO has put up a good performance here to hold on to P2. Morrison, P3. So the field is pretty spaced out up front. There's not a whole lot of battles going on between P1 and say P5, P6. This battle, however, has lasted throughout the sprint. Will it carry over into the feature? Let's find out in a few moments' time. I'll give Zelda a bit of airtime. We have not given Zelda any airtime pretty much. But what a stellar drive from the GTR driver. Crosses the line and wins the sprint race with the fastest lap. Will NTO be able to steal it off him? No. NTO is a few tenths slower. NTO finishes in P2. Morrison will finish P3 to make it a double podium for the Purple Beast in the sprint. Adam will be 4th, not too far ahead of Moncon. So close finish here between these two. Moncon finishes P5. JP will be P6. And these two have been battling for a while now, but I think it will be Whaley or will it? Schumacher has... Okay, I was going to say that Whaley's made a bit of a mistake there. Schumacher could capitalize off it, but Schumacher himself made a bit of a mistake there. They will finish 7th and 8th. Max will finish in 9th. Joe Finn, it seemed for a moment like Joe Finn would be P5 at the end of the sprint here, but unfortunately for him, he falls to P10. Abhi in 11th, Revolut in 12th, and a very unfortunate race capped off with damage and a bit of an off-track excursion for Tetrapolis here, who in the Jag, who will finish in an unlucky 13th. Circa will be in 14th, but unfortunately somebody who will not have very fond memories of this race will be HK, who is a long way back, and long way back in 15th. We can fast forward a little bit here. Obviously HK being on the hards would have had a handicap from the get-go, and there you can see it's just been a race to forget for the Nissan driver. We come across the line and cap off what has been an interesting sprint race. Now we move on to the feature. So obviously we're going to see a reverse grid for the top 10. So my thanks to Juhofin for uploading the results, and I'm going to very quickly start the race replay provided it loads. I don't know why it's not loading right now, but no worries. Usually it doesn't take this long to load, but I think it's because the Nürburgring replays are usually pretty heavy in terms of file size. I think it's taking a bit of time to access the server or so on, and I'm not going to pretend like I'm an expert in all these matters. Let's go. So I could see gloomy skies, and I think the race has started in wet conditions. Unfortunately for some of the drivers, I see that they've opted for a mix of tire strategies. They're well, let's see. So the track is already at that, I don't know what you call it, the bar, the standing water bar. What's the correct way to go about it? Is almost half full. Juhofin is on the mediums, which is the dry compound. Max is on the inters, so is Schumacher, so is Whaley. JP is on the dry tires, the hards. Moncon also on the inters. Adam is on the hards as well. Morrison is also on the hards. Entio is also on a dry compound, is on the mediums, and Zelda is also on a dry tire. Abhi is on the inters, Revolut on the dries, Tetrapolis on the hards as well. Circa in 14th is also on the dry compound on the mediums, and HK in 15th is on the hards once again. So this is going to be interesting to say the least, and my apologies, it's not a 7-lap race, it's a 5-lap race. I mixed up the total lap duration there, but nonetheless this is going to be interesting, because I'm sure so many guys would not have chosen the dry compound without thinking otherwise. I think maybe the track is going to dry out, or the rain is going to dissipate some way across lap 1. Let's find out. Juhofin will lead them away on the medium tires, so the tire strategy will be pretty interesting here. Obviously it's a very long circuit. Let's see, the lights are going to go off and the drivers are gonna go racing. I expect Max to blast past the McLaren in no time, given that Juhofin's braking will be all over the place on those dry tires, and this is gonna be a very, very chaotic start here. Max Power is into P1. Schumacher should also be able to get past without too many problems here. Past the McLaren, there you go. Whaley will follow suit in the Porsche in P4, soon to be P3. There you go. Whaley gets past Juhofin, and the McLaren driver has tumbled from P1 to P4. Schumacher gets slightly out of shape there. Whaley will be challenging the Mercedes driver as we go towards the hairpin here. Let's see, and Whaley gets past. Schumacher is almost hit by Juhofin. Juhofin obviously on these dry tires will not have a lot of grip here. JP and Juhofin very close. Genesis versus McLaren. Juho runs into the back of the Mercedes there, and not a lot of harm done right now. So it still seems to be even Stevens here right now between the dry and the intermediate runners, although I'm sure that the dynamic is going to change in a few corners time given the amount of standing water we see right now. Schumacher goes off circuit slightly, goes onto the gravel there. Juho will try to outbrake the Mercedes, but no, nothing doing right now, says the Mercedes driver. And Juhofin stays in P4, JP stays in P5. Morrison has got a good start up to P6. Moncon in 7th. Entio and Zelda have been, well, they've not been able to make up a lot of ground. Actually, they've made up no ground right now. I think they've stayed where they started, 9th and 10th. And Zelda runs into the back of Entio slightly. That may have been a bit of spectator lag here. As we go through the opening corners of the Nordschleife, Entio is very close to Adam. So all these guys are on the dries. Interesting to note is that the intermediates seem to be wearing out a lot faster. So despite the amount of standing water, I don't think the intermediates may have been the right call. As of now, at least, this is utterly chaotic. This is the top 6, mind you. This is ridiculously close. Sorry for that. Yeah. So Schumacher and Whaley battling it out. Juho Finn challenging Max Power. Max being hit by, I think it was Morrison. I think it was Juho. I can't say for sure. But this is gonna be so chaotic as we go towards the right-hander at the end of this long section. Schumacher and Whaley are gonna be struggling a little bit. Schumacher struggling massively. Schumacher's hit the wall. Schumacher's hit Juho Finn, and that is so unfortunate. Oh my word, this is, wow, what exactly has happened here? I know I said I was expecting chaos, but that was insanity. Two drivers off the track there. So that's Max Power. Oh my word, NTO with a humongous moment there, and that's 5 drivers off track into the gravel, and so on and so forth. I don't know which cinematic camera would capture all the chaos best, so I think Moncon's perspective might be nice to watch. Oh my word, an unbelievable amount of chaos on this opening lap of the Nürburgring race. Wow. And it's still going to continue on. Drivers are still very closely packed together, bunched together. So I expect to see a little more contact, a few more moments here for drivers. Juho Finn and Max make a bit of contact, but I think they will hold position, or will they? Max has gone off circuit, and I'm sure Max will be reset to track. Or will he? Yep, Max has been reset to track. So much contact going on here. Hey, Anderson. It's going in quite well, I must say. This is an interesting opening few corners here of the race. Yellow flag as somebody had a bit of a spin. Oh, that is Schumacher, who was running very well. So goes off circuit slightly onto the grass, onto the damp grass, mind you, and that is so unfortunate. Schumacher looked to be going so strongly, and wow, Juho Finn would have almost had a code brown there had Schumacher not been ghosted. I think you could get in contact with Gin Tonics on Discord. That would be the person you need to get in touch with if you were interested in racing Anderson. So you could do so. I think for the meantime you can enjoy the chaos of this race. Zelda had made up a few positions here thanks to all the chaos, and Zelda was facing the wrong way as we went into the braking zone here. Battling with JP. What's happened to Zelda here? So I think it's just a case of bad timing here. Zelda is facing the wrong way as those around him phase through him, and Zelda now falls to P8, and that is not the ideal recovery method for Zelda. HK has moved up 5 places, but the chaos around him has been incredible. Revolit, I think Revolit is also on the dries. Yep, Revolit on the dries. Adam and Revolit battling it out. Both of them are on the hard tire. Juho is on the mediums, obviously, as you saw. Juho started on pole, currently on P6, but has been involved in, I think the best way to say it is a fair amount of chaos, because you really don't know what's gonna happen here by the end of this lap. So Morrison leads from JP. Whaley is third on the inters, but his tires are quite significantly worn out right now. Tetro is P4. Adam and Juho Finn are battling it out. So all the intermediate runners seem to have gotten a unfortunate run across the Nordschleife. Who is that? That has to be Whaley. Yeah, Whaley's had a bit of a moment there. Adam lost a bit of composure. Juho Finn will be looking to get past and makes his way past the Porsche driver. Whaley is significantly struggling at this point on the intermediates. As you can see, they're really not offering him a whole lot of purchase here. drifting around. Really barely is able to maintain control over the 911 there, and I think the Inter runners will be rather upset with their choice of tire compound there. Whaley with a humongous fishtail. Revolut ran into the back of the Porsche, and NTO was able to capitalize on all that to get up into P6. There is no predicting what's gonna happen at any corner of this racetrack in this race. This just no telling what we're gonna see here. Zelda battling away with Revolut. Zelda showed stellar pace in the sprint from what you may remember, but presently is stuck in a bit of a no man's land right now in a way. He gets past Revolut. That's a good move by Zelda. Whaley should be an easy target for the Nissan driver, and Zelda gets past Whaley, and Revolut will be looking to follow suit. Whaley drifting away once again. Whaley has no grip whatsoever. Even though there's a bit of standing water right now, the Inters just do not have anything in them. Juho Finn has had a moment. Juho Finn, what's happened to the McLaren driver? So, it's a simple case of losing the rear end and getting hit by the purple beast Mercedes of NTO. So, Juho Finn's had a bit of an unfortunate moment there, and that's Juho Finn's teammate, Revolut, of course. Both the McLaren drivers. Whaley will be desperate to get rid of these tires at the earliest available moment of asking. Circa in P10 just trying to navigate the chaos. Same goes for HK. But further back, it's no doubt these have been the biggest losers in this entire lap 1 here. Is the Inter runners, Abhi, Schumacher, Max, Moncon, and obviously Whaley. All those who were on the dry compound rather, they seem to struggle. They did struggle for the first few opening corners of the race, but then I think the chaos at whatever the right-hander was after the end of that series of long straights, that really added to the chaos. But the Inter runners have really struggled this lap. I'll be interested to see what their strategy is for the rest of the race. But let's carry on. So, HK, wow, that's good car control by HK to hold the car. It seemed for a moment like he was going to go into the wall there. And Revolut and Juho Finn battling away. Juho Finn obviously on the softer tire compound. He'll be on the line to the McLaren pit wall and telling the team to tell Revolut to hold station for now. They are on different they're on different strategies, not in different races. They are the same race, and they are almost line astern. 7th and 8th run the McLaren duo of Juho Finn and Revolut. Tetro and Zelda are battling away. Zelda is looking to regain some composure and gets past Tetro. That will be a boost to his confidence after that unfortunate spin earlier on in the lap. But on this long back straight, there is ample time for the driver. You're just overtaken with the help of slipstream to repay the favor in a way and get back past the Nissan. There you go. Tetro is back past Zelda, and I'm sure Tetro will cover off any possible attacks from the Nissan driver. And there you go. The Jag is back in front of the Nissan as we start lap 2 of this race. Morrison is a long way clear. Morrison just seems to have run away into the distance here. I'm expecting to see every Inter runner into the pits immediately, and I hope, okay, so Whaley's into the pits. Circa carries on, HK carries on obviously, and Max has not pitted. Moncon into the pits, Abhi into the pits, Schumacher into the pits. So, and either Max has just misjudged which pit lane it is for this circuit, because obviously we have the Nordschleife pit as well. But Max is certain to get a puncture at some point in the next few corners, and then it's just gonna go, unfortunately, downhill for the Ford driver. And all these guys have exited. So Whaley has exited on the hards, and we will have a look at the rest of their tire compounds in a moment. We'll have a look at this little battle here. So Zelda and Tetro are battling it out at the end of the lap, and the battle has continued on Onto the start of this lap, Tetro and Zelda are battling it out. As we go, this is not the Parabolica, that's in Hockenheim, I'm sorry. I keep mixing up my corner names thanks to F1. Parabolica is obviously in Monza and in Hockenheim. But there you go, Zelda is past the Jag, and I think that's a pass that will stick. Zelda slightly clips the wall, but no damage done for the Nissan driver. NTO is gaining some confidence and gaining some lap time and gaining time on Captain Adam. Let's see if the Purple Beast can get past the Porsche. Same goes for JP. If JP can hold back the charge of the Purple Beasts. It really looks like it's a car in a league of its own right now. So Morrison and NTO are both on the running pretty well, so they're gonna score very well for their teams. Zelda and Tetro battling it out. Let's see if Zelda can hold off Tetro's charge right now, because it seems like Zelda is not really able to do so. Is not able to break free of the Jag at the moment. As Morrison has, I don't think there's a whole lot to say right now. Morrison is just driving fantastically. Adam is coming under increased pressure from NTO. Zelda and Tetro still battling away. I think Zelda is starting to break away a little bit from the Jag. The two McLarens were running line astern, but now they too are a few car lengths apart, few seconds apart. Jochen is in the distance there, as you can see. Revolut is having to hold off a charge from HK. Circa is also a fair ways back. Max has no tires and is gonna struggle to get past the remaining whatever. How many kilometers is this track? How many miles? But it's gonna feel like forever for Max. No grip. Has some damage, and that's just unfortunate for Max there. So unfortunate. Abi will get past the Ford as well, and Schumacher will follow suit. Schumacher has opted to go into another set of intermediates. Why? Moncon is on the soft soil, right? So Moncon is gonna make another pit stop here. But I'm really interested. Schumacher has opted for the intermediate tire again. Max has a puncture across the board, all four tires, and somehow Schumacher is able to challenge and keep up with Abhi, which I'm really not understanding. I think Schumacher is just extracting all that he can from this tire in a bid to do so. He may also be at risk of getting a puncture by the time we get to the back straight here. So field seems to be spaced out. NTO got past Captain Adam. I did miss that, so my apologies for that. I'm not gonna miss this attempt at NTO trying to overtake JP. So let's have a look. Going through this fast section of racetrack. Are we going to see NTO being able to get past JP before we get onto the back straight? Obviously the Genesis is very good in a straight line, as is the Mercedes, but I think the Genesis has the edge in a straight line compared to the Mercedes. I could be wrong, don't take my word for it. Into the braking zone we go. Morrison is disappeared effectively. This is the battle that we are focusing on. The battle for a net P2. NTO and JP. Let's have a look through the carousel we go, and JP goes a bit wide there. That is, and just opens the door slightly for NTO, but that's all the impetus NTO needed to get past the Genesis. And there's a bit of contact there. JP's onto the gravel slightly, but still keeps it on the circuit despite that. NTO now makes it a Purple Beast 1-2. Adam in P4 is still a few ways back from the Genesis, although I think Adam may be able to challenge JP in a few, maybe a lap or so, possibly. Zelda is also slowly but steadily gaining time, so Don't count out Zelda yet. We saw how dominant he was in the sprint race. So let's see how long it takes Zelda to catch up to and possibly pass the Porsche and the Genesis. JP just doesn't seem to be enjoying it a lot. I know I said that Adam may be able to challenge JP in a few laps, but it seems like it's been a few corners instead. JP struggling, Adam on the prowl and Zelda on the charge. Petro is a few corners back, as is Johofin. Revolut is also... The field is pretty spaced out for the back. Whaley is obviously going to have to do a bit of a recovery drive here. Up front, we will focus on this. This is the battle for P3, the last podium place of this race. Adam chasing after the Genesis, but I think JP seems to be able to hold on for now. Although gets a bit of a moment there, the rear end steps out slightly for the Genesis driver. That's gonna not bode very well because they have a very quick Nissan right behind them. And Zelda's gonna get a double slipstream if he plays his cards right. Onto the back straight we go. The slipstream effect will come into play here. And Zelda will be looking to get past two cars in one go. Are we gonna see that by the end of this back straight? So that Marshall is gonna get a great view of it. And so are we. Zelda trying to get into the slipstream and get past the pair of them. Adam gets past JP. Zelda gets past JP. Will Zelda be able to get past Adam as well? I don't think so. And JP may be able to challenge Zelda as well. There's a bit of contact. It seemed for a moment like it would end in tears for the both of them, but they maintain their place on the racetrack instead of going into the barriers. NTO has pitted from the mediums, getting rid of that tire compound rather early. It seems like it's on time. Zelda is past JP and now sets after Adam. NTO has pitted, getting rid of the mediums. I'm certain it's gonna be for the hards just to prevent any potential risk of puncture. Johofin carries on for one more lap. I think Joho is trying to go for a medium to soft strategy. Revolut carries on as well. Revolut also, I think, is opting to go on to the... Revolut has the flexibility of strategy. He can go on to the mediums or the softs. I think Johofin will be possibly looking to go for an aggressive strategy, move up the field and go on to the softs as a result. JP, Zelda and Adam. This is going to be a battle we're going to follow for the remainder of this lap. Let's just check in with Morrison. Morrison is driving comfortably. I think Morrison doesn't need to take any risk with strategy either. I think Morrison should ideally just go on to the mediums and call it a day when he comes into the pits at the end of this lap possibly. And let's find out. Adam and Zelda battling away. Zelda looking to get past the Porsche. Can't seem to find a way past here. Adam has gone off circuit and has done what Johofin did in the a few minutes ago. Adam has missed his braking point and Adam has gone into the tire block there. I think Johofin did this mistake in the sprint. And speaking of, Johofin is not too far away from Adam right now. Adam unfortunately has a bit of damage and has lost quite a bit of time compared to JP and Zelda. JP will be looking to stay as close to Zelda as he can, although I think the Nissan in the hands of Zelda will be a mighty machine right now. Setting after T Morrison 94 in the Purple Beast. Strategy will be very interesting to see here. NTO, as we saw, pitted onto the hards. Tetropolis also has pitted and has gone onto the mediums. Circa is stayed out. I don't believe Whaley is going to pit again in this race. I don't see any reason for him to have to do so. A bit of Moncon, a bit of fuel conservation, I was going to say, for Whaley might see him move up the order when those ahead of him pit. Circa goes slightly off circuit there. I think just recovering from a moment. So is Whaley, who I just mentioned. Wow. Whaley has had a bit of a off-track excursion there, has a bit of damage, and it's been a race to forget for those who started on the inters, and Max has opted to go for the softs. Max is a long way away from even the car in front as right now, it seems. Well, there are so many different races going on right now. There's a lot to unpack and follow right now. Forgive me if I make a few mistakes here in regards to your race if you're watching one of the drivers here. HK seems to be not enjoying the hards too much. NTO is putting HK under a bit of pressure. So NTO is challenging for battling for P2 with Zelda, I think, right now as it stands. Although NTO, I think, will still have the advantage, has the pit window covered off. There's a bit of traffic ahead of him, NTO. That's gonna be a bit of a detriment to him. Let's see what Zelda and Morrison choose in regards to strategy. So Juho Finn, I'm sure, will be boxing at the end of this lap. So with a bit of tire conservation, we saw something very similar. I think it was Juho Finn in Dragon Trail who did a stellar drive and did a great job with tire preservation. So I think Juho Finn may just go onto the softs and set off on a charge. Adam, obviously we saw Adam make a mistake as we started the Nordschleife section of the racetrack. JP has fallen away quite significantly from Zelda, and the sky is getting gloomy. Is that a sign of a little cloud cover, a little overcast weather condition, or is that an indication to signal to us that there may be rain on the way? If that's the case, NTO's race has just been unraveled here. But I don't think NTO would have chosen that strategy without thinking otherwise. However, this is going to be very interesting to see, because I think it's a certain part of the track that looks really, really dark. So, okay, JP has hit the wall, I think, or has maybe made contact with something. So, JP picked up a bit of damage. I think, yeah, JP's just gone slightly onto the grass there and lost the rear end. Oh no, just got a bit of understeer, plane into the wall, and I think it's lucky that he wasn't any worse for him. JP is gonna carry on ahead of Adam, and let's just get back to the rough point where we were. So I expect Morrison and Zelda both to box on this lap. The question remains for which tire. It's really difficult to predict the weather around a track as lengthy as this one. It's really anybody's game here. Whoever's going to play the strategy right will come out on top. In terms of the weather, let's see who is going to be gambling correctly and who might lose out. So somebody has disconnected. I think that's Max. Max has, I think, had enough of the race. Can't blame him. It's been a race to forget for driver. Moncon has a puncture, so there are risks to going for the soft strategy, which I think Juho Finn might go for if it's not gonna rain. Tetro went slightly off circuit there, as we saw. Tetro's obviously made his pit stop there, so doesn't need to come through the pit lane again. HK has not pitted. HK has a bit of damage. HK has a bit of a slide there, and I think HK is going to carry on. Revolut also has not pitted. NTO is making his way up the field, and what's happened here? Sorry, the wrong button. So So Adam and JP. So Adam got past JP, but then went off circuit, and that has allowed the Genesis driver to get past via the grass. Although it seems like JP just had one tire on the track at all times, so I don't think that will count as an off-track pass for the Genesis driver. It's getting really gloomy in the Nordschleife section. I'm really interested to see what these guys choose in regards to their strategy. Morrison will be the first one who's gonna have to pit. Juho Finn. Okay, interesting. Juho Finn's driver in the mediums is not that far away from Morrison's driver on the hards. So the McLaren in the hands of Juho Finn is great at tire preservation. I'm almost certain that he can go onto the soft chair and keep his challenge for a podium going pretty well. Morrison pits. Zelda is a long way back. Morrison, I think, will emerge still in the lead. NTO, despite having attempted the undercut, I don't think the undercut has been significant enough for NTO to jump past his teammate. JP is gonna come into the pits. Very low fuel for JP compared to Zelda, Adam and so on. So JP into the pit lane. Morrison has exited the pits. So where is NTO? NTO is not that far away from his teammate, although NTO will still, I think, be jumped by Zelda, or will he? It's gonna be close at pit exit. Let's have a look at the Mercedes versus the Nissan, and Zelda has emerged in front. However, notice the fuel levels between Zelda and NTO, and NTO has mentioned that he's come back at the best moment, so I believe I am going to stick to NTO's onboard for the time being. Tetro is in P4, Adam emerges in P5 ahead of JP. So Adam's taken a little less fuel and has emerged ahead of the Genesis driver. Juho Finn, as I expected, has gone on to the soft tires. So this is going to be pretty interesting to watch. I think Juho can still challenge for potential P4 here. I think NTO is a little too far ahead right now, but do I see some rain? T. Morrison's tires, what's happened here? He's gone on to the softs. Wait. Oh, why am I doing that? I don't need to. I did mention, I thought that Morrison could go on to the mediums and end the race without any worry of tire wear. Oh, it's a very costly misclick there for T. Morrison, has been revealed by his teammate NTO. Speaking of NTO, I'm really looking forward to seeing your battle with Zelda. Morrison needs to undertake incredible tire conservation across the course of this lap, or just needs to drive it on rails right now and just pit again, only make a tire change and exit. That is the two alternatives that Morrison has right now, given that those around him are on the mediums and the hards. Once again, it's Morrison, Zelda and NTO, but it's in a different order from what we saw in the sprint. Tetro is in a good position. Tetro could still be able to hold on to P4, just needs to avoid making mistakes like that again. Adam needs to avoid running into the tire block. JP and Adam will be battling it out, which is going to open the door for Juho Finn, who will be, I think, best poised. I think Juho Finn will be posing a challenge to Tetro by the end of this lap possibly, or maybe next lap. Will having a bit of a moment there. In the Porsche, tires are not in the best situation either, but I think Whaley will just have to stay out and hope for the best. Revolit is on the mediums. Circa has opted for the softs as well. Abi on the hards, on old hards. Moncon has opted for mediums, and Schumacher is on the hards as well. So interesting tire split between all those in the field. I'm interested to see what Morrison does, because I think he may go down the route of tire preservation rather than driving, well, extracting all that he can from the tires and pitting immediately only for tires, because I think the pit lane time loss around here will be too much to recoup for the Mercedes, the Purple Beast driver. NTO and Zelda, there's quite a gap right now between them. Zelda's a lot closer to Morrison. I think Zelda, despite that lap 1 chaos in which I believe Zelda was also involved, having facing the wrong way at one point, Zelda could still be in contention to win this race. Morrison is going on an incredible tire preservation spree. Look at the amount of time Morrison is losing to Zelda in the corners here. And I think, will Morrison let Zelda by? I don't think he's gonna allow it to happen, but he's gonna fight it. Although I think with his tires being the way they are, he's not gonna be able to do a whole lot. Zelda and Morrison side by side. I think Morrison will back out of this. I think he just wants to bring the car home without getting a puncture. Zelda moves into the lead after having after facing the wrong way at one point in this race. So well done to the Nissan driver. Morrison in P2. Interesting to see what Morrison's strategy is going to be like. NTO is, I think, going to get past his teammate in a few honest time. It's getting very dark and gloomy over some part of the Nordschleife here. Tetro is coming under pressure from Adam and JP. Juhofin is not too far away either. So there you go. I think Juhofin is aiming for a P4 finish by the end of this race. That would be the best that he can achieve right now. So Morrison will be, I think, cursing the fact that unfortunately this has been a very costly misclick. It seemed like it would be a possibly comfortable win for the Mercedes driver, but I think it's not gonna come to fruition here. Zelda is going through approaching the carousel, and there is an incredible field spread here. The driver at the back of the wheel. So these guys, I think their race was called from the moment they decided to start on the inters. Although they are still in the race, anything is possible. Abhi in 11th could still move into the top 10, although that is going to be difficult if he continues to have moments like this. That is so unfortunate for the BMW driver. Moncon will be looking to get past Abhi. Having seen the yellow flags a few moments ago, Moncon knows that Abhi has a bit of damage or has had a bit of an off-track excursion, so he will be pushing the car to its limits right now to get past the BMW. Obviously Moncon on fresh mediums, Abhi on old hards. It's not going to be much of a competition. Moncon should be able to breeze past Abhi. Although will Abhi allow it? Abhi goes slightly onto the grass there. Abhi does not put up much of a fight in regards to Moncon, and there you go. Schumacher is also not too far behind this duo. I think Abhi might be under threat from Schumacher, as well as what's happened to Whaley. So I think just not enjoying the hards right now is Whaley. Revolade gets past as a result. Juho Finn can see JP, Adam and Tetro in the distance. He's not been able to make up as much ground as I expected him to. He also needs to look after his tires. I know that he's been great at tire management, and the McLaren has also been pretty good at tire management, but it will still be a tall order for him to be able to get past without losing a whole lot of time. Tetro is coming under pressure from And there you go. So at some point I missed that swap there. NTO got past Morrison. Will Tetro be able to get past Morrison as well? Morrison is... I don't think Morrison is even going to finish on the podium here. Tetro and Adam are battling it out as we go onto the back straight here. Adam has been nudged off circuit there by the Jag and still is able to get past. I think Tetro just wanted to let Adam by there as a signal of goodwill. Juho Finn has 3 cars ahead of him in his sights, and he knows that P4 is there waiting to be taken. And if he can also see Morrison as a small blip in the distance there, if Juho Finn plays his cards right, given his skill and the McLaren's natural tendency to manage the tires well, his skill of tire management, I think Juho Finn may have a slight shot at the podium, unless the 3 ahead of him have something to say about it. Morrison has been backing off quite a bit. I think he may pick up the pace at some points across this lap, or I am not exactly sure what he's going to be able to do. Zelda, I think, is going to end the race with exactly the amount of fuel that he needs to finish the race. NTO has a little extra in reserve. Morrison has quite a bit in reserve and is having to drive the slowly here in order to conserve his tires. Tetro's tires are also not in good nick. Adam's tires and JP's tires are in much better condition. Tetro has been nudged off circuit by JP there, who is trying to just find some grip on those mediums there. It doesn't seem like those fresh mediums are giving him a whole lot to play around with. Tetro is also going elbows out with JP and gets past the Genesis driver. Once again, there's contact. Tetropolis goes off circuit there. I was just trying to see how far behind Juho Finn is, and if Juho Finn was going to be able to capitalize on all this. You can see the 2 ahead of him are engaged in a fantastic battle here. Whaley has pitted for a set of softs. I'm sure it has to be a set of softs. Is it? Let's see. I think we'll get to know in a few moments time. Moncon making the move on Circa and making it stick. Let's resume. Let's return to this battle here. We'll shift our focus to the battle for P5. Juho Finn can see Tetropolis and JP battling away. He's also unfortunately seen Adam and Morrison kinda just go into the distance there. Morrison is having to be ultra conservative with his tires here, and this could open up the probability for Adam to stand on the rostrum here. JP and Tetro battling it out. Juho Finn, I think Juho Finn, despite all that I've said, will still have to look after the tires, and as a result he won't be able to push as much as he would like to on this lap. Up front, Zelda seems to have run away. NTO is not going to be able to challenge Zelda unless Zelda has a massive moment here, which I don't think Zelda is likely to do. So he's heading purple sectors. Zelda is going purple and will, I'm sure, be looking to get the fastest lap and the race win, which will be a perfect way to cap off Zelda's fantastic weekend here. NTO will be, I think, NTO will settle in for P2. There's no shame in that. It's still a very good result here. Morrison is coming under increased pressure from Adam. JP, Tetro and Juho Finn are still gonna follow as they are. I think my expectations for the soft tire runner were a little too lofty. Juho will, I believe, just hang on to P7. Revolut's a long way back. Juho can back off a little bit as well should he want to. Moncon is a long way back from Revolut. So Revolut is in a just in no man's land right now. There's nothing for Revoli to necessarily worry about. Juho Finn, I think he should be able to get to the end of the back straight without having tire concerns, in my opinion. Tetro and JP battling away. Tetro's fronts are also not in a very good state right now. JP might just be able to hold on to P5 for now. Adam is putting Morrison under pressure. However, Morrison is coming under threat of getting a puncture with his tires being the way they are. This is going to be an interesting situation here as the pair of them, Morrison and Adam, go off circuit, hit the wall, and they both have damage. Despite that, off-track excursion for the both of them, Adam has still gained time on Morrison as a result. Morrison is just having to nurse the tires home. This is open up the door for JP. Tetro doesn't have very good tires to play around with right now. Juho is a long way back. Juho is not going to be able to do a whole lot either. So I think the podium will be between Adam and JP, because Morrison just seems to be struggling a whole lot here. The way Zelda and NTO got past, I don't think that Morrison can do a whole lot in regards to Adam and JP's charge through the field. And let's see if Adam can get past Morrison at the carousel. Morrison, they make a little bit of contact there. JP is steadily gaining some time on Adam and Morrison, both. Juho Finn's too far back. I think Juho is having to do a bit of track conservation. So, alright. I think he can just bring the car home. No harm done for Juho Finn either. Tetro will have to, I think, settle for P6. I think P6 will be what he's gonna hang on to for now. This is the last lap of the race. Adam is putting Morrison under so much pressure. Morrison's front left is getting close to puncture territory. He still has some grip in those tires, but I think he may just be able to hang on just about. As I say that, I just realized that Adam's tires are in much better condition. He can use the tires a whole lot more. Morrison is just gonna have to use up all his skill in order to try and keep the the Porsche behind him. The Nissan, speaking of, is already on the back straight. Where's Zelda? Yep, Zelda's on the back straight. Zelda has taken precisely enough fuel to get to the end of the race. He's gonna get the fastest lap as well. NTO is about to be he's gonna finish in P2, but this is the battle that we're really looking at. Adam and Morrison. JP will follow Adam in getting past Morrison. However, Morrison fights back, but look at his front left. Morrison has nothing left to play around with. Goes wide, goes off the circuit, grazes the wall. No damage there for the Purple Beast, but Morrison will be so upset with how the pit stop phase has gone. No front left for Morrison. Adam and JP are gonna fight it out for the last podium position, but up front, what a drive. Flashing his lights there, Zelda crosses the line to win what has been a very, very interesting Nürburgring race. Adam and JP, the battle is not over yet, although it seems to be rather one-sided right now. Adam, I think, has the measure of JP. I don't think there's a whole lot that the Genesis driver can do. Morrison may be overtaken by Tetro here by the end of the race. Adam has enough of a gap to JP to not bother right now with needing to defend or so on. NTO crosses the line, finishes in P2. Adam will finish P3, JP will be 4th. What about Tetro and Morrison? Tetro can see Morrison struggling, but Tetro has not got a very good exit there. That is, I think, going to allow Morrison to hang on to P5, which is, considering the predicament he found himself in, it is damage limitation for the Purple Beast. Juho Finn has run out of tires on his left hand side, so I really had some lofty expectations there, I think, given the state he's gonna finish the race in, but Juhofen, no harm done, no gain, no loss. Juhofen will finish in 7th. That's where he emerged after his pit stop. Revolit's driven a bit of a quiet race. Revolit will be P8. Moncon is P9. It's been another quiet race for Moncon. A few battles here and there. Whaley will challenge Moncon to the line. They both have nominal amounts of fuel. But I think Moncon will still be able to finish ahead of Whaley. Schumacher's a long way back, and there you go. Moncon comes to the final corner, crosses the line, and the British driver in the Mercedes is going to finish in 9th. And rounding off the top 10 is Whaley, who had started on the Inters. The race just went backwards for him after the racetrack there. Schumacher will finish in 11th. It's been another race to forget. It's been a race to forget, rather, not another race to forget for Schumacher. Abhi in 12th, rounds out the final few corners, comes across the line. He stayed on the tire that he emerged out on lap 2 on. So Abhi finishes in P12. Circa is a long way behind the rest of the field. I think he made an extra pit stop, or maybe just decided to carry on old softs. In any case, Circa has no rear left tire, is about to have no rear right tire, and he has no front either. It's been a race to forget for the Portuguese driver in the Audi, although I think that he may want to come back fighting in the next race. And there you go, the replay hasn't even allowed him to. I think the time ran out before he could get to the end of the lap. Nonetheless, that is the end of the race. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you to all the drivers for a very entertaining race. I think I'm gonna, instead of leaving everybody at the sorry for that, instead of stopping the stream at the menu screen there, I am gonna stop it at this, because this honestly has been the highlight of the entire race for me here. That, I think, is a great way to sum up what the Nürburgring race has been like. In any case, thank you to all the drivers for racing. What a race. Imagine at this point NTO is facing the wrong way on the grass, and he came back from that to finish P2. I think that shows you should never give up from your race, and in general never give up. Well, there you go. I think that's a great way to end the stream. Thank you for tuning in. We shall be back soon with next week's race. I forget for the life of me which track it is. I think it's Brands Hatch, is it? It is Brands Hatch. We're going to be racing around the once a former F1 British Grand Prix. Is it a British Grand Prix circuit? I'm not sure about that, but nonetheless, it's a pretty good racetrack. We shall see you there. Until then, thank you. Take care. Good night and bye-bye.